Alright, YouTube. Some time ago I addressed the concept of censorship on YouTube as it related mainly to my channel. European censorship, though, appears to have become more advanced, more significant over time. That is, the European Union states are going the way of China, in the fashion of free speech only when the establishment happens to want you to have free speech. The freedom to absorb information only when they want you to absorb it. It's very important to the establishment parties of Europe, as well as certain fringe parties as well, to tell the truth. It's very important to them that their subjects, not citizens, but subjects, absorb only information that is authorized by the governments there. Therefore, my channel for more than half a decade has been largely blocked in places like Germany, Italy, Poland, I believe, now has joined that list. Sporadically in France, sometimes it's available, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just certain videos are unavailable or the channel itself, and it's all very confusing. I'm not even sure exactly how this suppression is being applied. One thing, though, is clear. In states where leftism has reigned for some time, my channel was unavailable even back when I myself considered myself to be a leftist. I don't even think it's just to do with politics. Part of it could have to do with certain blasphemy laws, honestly, because I deride organized religion. I've called out Islam, I've called out Christianity, I've called out Judaism in the organized religious sense. I think that has something to do with it, especially in Poland it probably does. I can't imagine that the Polish government cares about the fact that I happen to support nationalist causes or populism. And certainly they wouldn't have cared years ago when I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a libertarian, garden variety like a paleocon or something. So I don't think they cared about that. I think that had to do with religion. As far as Germany goes, though, I'm going to assume it's probably my political views. Interestingly, though, my channel was first blocked in Germany, as far as I know, around 2009 or thereabouts. Now, I had never at that time, I had just got done voting. You know, unfortunately, again, mistakes can be made by even the best of us. I had just got done voting for Obama and was still rambling about how we need to get out of Iraq and stuff. I would think that that'd be something that would generally be tolerated by the German authorities that be. They have that one group, what's it called, GEMA or something like that, that goes through and weeds out material that could possibly be in breach of copyright or something. Now, I can't be under that banner. That umbrella certainly doesn't cover my channel. 99% of its content is literally just me speaking. There's no copyrighted material. The only copyrighted material that I have anymore on my channel is Radio Werewolf. I took all the Manson stuff down about a week ago because I'm like, oh, I want this channel to be about me. I'm keeping the Radio Werewolf stuff. I've gotten explicit permission for it to be there, so that shouldn't be a problem. I like that music, and it deserves to have a home on YouTube. Other than that, though, what is this channel other than me rambling into a webcam? So it has nothing to do with copyright. That's certain. Therefore, it must have something to do with what I'm saying. I guess the idea is that they don't want people communicating directly with me from these European states. They don't care about individual videos so much, oddly. I would think that'd be what they would target. They'd leave the channel open and they'd like go through and, you know, any video about like politics with certain tags or certain titles or something would get blocked out. That's apparently not the way they apply their censorship. At this point, though, Europe is looking more and more like 80s era China when it comes to suppression of free speech. I half expect that within the next 10 years, China will have free speech laws and Europe will do away with theirs. What free speech, what free expression do you have? Does that not include the ability to absorb material from others? Or is it just your ability to put stuff out there in a completely isolated fashion? You know, China has its own intranet. That is, it's only slightly connected at certain points with the World Wide Web at large. They've got their own sort of, you know, separate internet for the most part. There are a few parts of China where you can get on a kiosk and you can communicate with the outside world in the internet fashion. You have to be careful doing that, otherwise you get communist agents knocking at your door, I guess. But within that intranet, with the exception of certain subjects, there's no apparent censorship that goes on unless somebody's becoming like an anti-communist heretic or something. Within Europe, they connect to the World Wide Web at large, but then they pressure other firms like Facebook and YouTube to block material. The Europeans, one thing I have a problem with, even some of the populists in Europe, they look at Turkey. When Turkey goes after Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, blocks them out and says, no, we're not letting people use it because we're having a riot or we're having a protest or somebody just said something bad about Erdogan on YouTube, so we're going to block the whole platform. And a lot of these people in Europe, they say that's bad, that's wrong, free expression, free speech, whatever. But then their own governments do the same thing, maybe on a more limited basis. They don't block YouTube outright, they just block you from seeing certain users. And it appears that a lot of people don't have a problem with it. Now, German censorship in particular is generally ineffective, or so it seems, because my 5th highest viewing total comes from Germany. You know, it's obviously the US and UK are at top, and Australia is on that list, and I think the other one's Canada. And then Germany, which is blocking my channel entirely, so obviously the search feature and recommended videos are still serving that stuff to the German population. But can they come on my channel to browse my videos directly? No, apparently not. They have to change their country on YouTube in order to get around that. Now, it's kind of a lackluster censorship system because you can just pull off that maneuver, and apparently that works 9 times out of 10. So it's not exactly as effective as maybe building an intranet or blocking specifically videos and material like that. But it is an attempt to suppress the expression that I have on YouTube in other countries, probably because of my political leanings. Now, if I were a total Marxist, if I were constantly trying to suck Angela Merkel's ass, would I still be suppressed in the nation of Germany? Would my channel still be blocked? Probably not. If I never called out organized religion, would it be blocked, you know, at least sporadically, it seems, in Poland? Probably not. What about in Italy? I don't know which ones at play there, because you've got the overlap of, you know, religiosity with socialist politics. So I'm not sure which one would be responsible for that. Same with France. Within France, I don't understand, and this was fairly recent. I never had a problem with that before until maybe a year ago or so, and now all of a sudden sometimes certain videos or my channel or something is not available in the nation of France either. Now my channel's continuing to grow because of this. I can't even imagine, because I'm not, this channel is not the most politically edgy channel on YouTube. I can't even imagine the level of censorship that's applied to people who are really out there, on the left or the right, honestly. I can't even begin to envision it. I've also been blocked in Israel since probably late 2008 or thereabouts. I don't even know why that happened. I hadn't even really spoken up about religion or politics at that point. I was just sort of dicking off on YouTube for the most part, entertaining myself. And I still managed to get blocked in Israel. So I'm blocked in Israel and Germany. Let's put 2 and 2 together and figure out what issues I might be blocked for. Yeah, I'm going to say it's something more than, his garden contains unauthorized plants that we can't import, so we have to block him because people might message him and ask for seeds or something. I'm going to assume that's probably not the case. I'm going to assume it's probably politically related. It has something to do with my views of the world. Honestly, I don't know why YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, all of these US firms, I don't know why they allow the European nations to do this at all. Honestly. I think they should, they're juggernauts. What's Germany going to do? They say to Facebook, oh, you've got to censor this material, ban this material, oh, this has to go, and so forth. Are they threatening to cut off Facebook to the German population? Let's see how that goes over. I'm sure that I'm sure that people will take it lightly. They'll take it lying down and they'll say, oh, who cares, Facebook, whatever. What about YouTube? What about Twitter or any of these other services? It's disgusting that the European nations, their governments, would say on the one hand, well, this is the developed, free part of the world, we have free press, we have free speech, we're so free, everything's great, we tolerate all ideas, and then they do this sort of crap. It doesn't make me angry, because it's been going on for years, and I've sort of gotten used to it, but it is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy does annoy me when people show it. So when you have a nation stressing how free it is, how tolerant and wonderful and wealthy and perfect it is, almost in an ego-tripping manner in some cases, especially in Germany or Sweden, and then they proceed to block the views of those who they find politically annoying to themselves. And they don't even really, they don't give you any recourse for it. They don't allow you to challenge it in any way. They don't allow their native population to weigh in on whether it should or should not be happening. That's autocracy. That's not a representative system. It's not democracy. It's not freedom or liberty. It's an autocracy. It's authoritarianism. That's what you've got increasingly in Europe. No wonder these establishment parties are dying. I hope the European Union gets ripped apart as quickly as possible, because probably this sort of crap won't happen anymore. I can't imagine that nationalist regimes or populist movements would have a tolerance for the same kind of heavy-handed censorship when they've been used to being censored and oppressed themselves, in some cases for decades at a time. No, they'd probably alleviate most of that. And then you'd actually have free speech, free expression, the free press. You don't really have free press in Europe either, for the most part. You don't have it here either. The corporate media here, it's not really a press anymore. It's just constant yellow journalism and bias and some infotainment. That's really what you're getting if you watch CNN or Fox or something. It's not really the news. It's not unbiased analysis. It's not hard-hitting journalism like they claim that it is. It's just a bunch of spin and opinion. And Europe tries to compare itself to the United States. It happens all the time, even among the little people of like the average American citizen, the average European, like bickering online. They try to compare against one another. And the American says, oh, well, you don't even have the right to bear arms. Well, meanwhile, their right to bear arms is totally denigrated. They're barely more advanced than the Europeans when it comes to that. In fact, there's some Eastern European nations that are more pro-gun than even like the wilderness states of the United States. The European looks at the American, aha, your press is terrible, and you actually aren't as free as you think. Ooh, copyright, ooh, this, that, censorship. And then meanwhile, the press is state-controlled or co-opted. They don't have free speech. You know, if they say certain things in public or do certain things in public, especially in a place like Germany or Sweden, they get dragged off to jail. And you're not as free as you think. And you think that your multi-party systems are somehow better than the two-party dichotomy we have here. I explain that. You still have basically two-party systems. You have an establishment left and an establishment right. Then you have a bunch of fringe parties that only lately have made any real gains. That's what you've got. You're in the same boat as us. Censorship happens everywhere. And it shouldn't happen. There should be no censorship online, in any way, shape, or form. The only sort of online censorship, which is really just, legalism in a general sense, that should be taking place is we're trying to stop, human trafficking, drug dealing, things like that. That's okay. That's totally different. But when you're just censoring someone for having an inconvenient political opinion, who happens to have, I guess, too much support, and you're kind of afraid that they're going to influence your voters or something, it's retarded. It shouldn't be happening at all. The U.S. shouldn't block material from these countries. And the one thing I can say in defense of even the quasi-authoritarian U.S. government, we even still technically have the freedom to read like Al-Qaeda's magazine and stuff like that. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go out of my way and say, edgy content, I'm going to read it? No, but we still have the ability to do so because we comprehend the concept that the government doesn't have a right to determine what you do and do not have the ability to absorb. You can download the anarchist cookbook or whatever. Bad ideas? Yeah, probably get you on a watch list, but you can do that sort of thing. In Europe, you can't. You probably can still get the anarchist cookbook in a place like Sweden or Germany, so long as you're, an Antifa member or something like that, but you can't express an inconvenient political opinion. You can't say Angela Merkel's selling us down the river because you probably get hauled in for questioning. Oh, does that mean that she's taking in too many immigrants? Oh, we think we need to spend the night in jail or something like that. So my channel remains blocked in a lot of these states. And the list is growing, which isn't a huge surprise. It's not affecting the view count. The videos are still there. I don't know what they're thinking with this application. But for some reason, it's the channel itself is blocked. I guess again, it's probably to keep people from communicating directly with me through messaging or something like that. They're afraid that I'm the next Goebbels or something along those lines. And it's just it's a freak show. They claim to be free. The government's there, so we love freedom, we love tolerance. Meanwhile, they're basically going down the same road as China or something, or Burma or something like that. That's about all.